Hello everyone, Darren here, and on today's episode of WoTC Academy, we are going to be discussing marks of excellence. This video is kind of basically just be like a marks of excellence for dummies type of video, just a very basic overview slash guide, and we're going to just go over what marks are and some information that you may not be aware of, as well as jump into some math behind the marks of excellence and where you can find them. So without further ado, let's get started. So as an overview, marks of excellence, or MOs, or simply marks as they are called amongst the community, are marks on a tank's barrel that demonstrate your skill in a particular tank compared to the rest of the community. These marks are visible to everyone in the game, so everyone can see, your fancy third or fourth mark on your tank. Of course, when you earn a mark on your tank, don't worry, it's never going to disappear. So if you reach 65% and earn your first mark of excellence, if you go below that percentage, don't worry, it's not going to disappear from the tank. You will have it forever. Speaking of marks on tanks, some tanks, such as licensed collaboration vehicles, or even tanks with a ton of barrels, like the Ontos in Cold War, for example, they will not have marks on them due to either licensing issues or a licensing agreement that says that they're not allowed to have marks on the tank, or just the sheer amount of barrels kind of just makes it look bad or something, some design issue. So some of those tanks, if you don't see marks on there, but you see that you are progressing and earning marks on the tank, don't be alarmed. It's not a bug. It's just due to licensing or technical limitations, they cannot have marks on the vehicle. Now, regarding tanks that can earn marks of excellence, tanks that are at tiers 5 and up in the World War II mode are eligible to earn marks of excellence. And for Cold War, if you play that mode, all eras 1, 2, and 3 are eligible to earn marks of excellence. Now, the levels of marks of excellence. I have a little bit of a diagram up here. I don't have all 4 of them up because one of them is just such a minor change that it doesn't really mean anything unless you care. But we have 4 marks of excellence. The first mark of excellence is obtained upon reaching 65% on that tank. Now, that percentage is that you are better than 65% of the community in that tank. The second marks of excellence will be obtained upon reaching 85%. Again, that is being 85% better than the rest of the community. And then the third mark of excellence is obtained upon reaching 95%. And again, 95% better than the rest of the community in that particular vehicle. Now, recently, in like the last year or two, we have gained a 4th mark of excellence. That mark is the 4th mark, and it is obtained upon reaching 100% in that vehicle. And again, the reason why I didn't really include it in that little graphic that you see is because simply it takes the 3rd mark and turn it gold. And again, you reach 100%, so it kind of just explains itself. So, yes. Moving on now to the math, where I'm sure some of you actually are the most interested. I'm sure some of you are really interested in knowing how it's calculated. Unfortunately, I can't give you the exact math. Marks of excellence calculations, algorithms, is a closely guarded secret by Wargaming. They will not divulge that information. So, A, don't ask. You're not going to get an answer. Otherwise, I would have gotten an answer and gladly explained it here. But what I have done is I have taken the understanding, the basic overview of how it's calculated that they have provided, and I have turned it into a simple mathematical equation for you to follow along and hopefully understand. Now, these marks are constantly moving, and they're based around averages. So, it's going to constantly fluctuate, and hopefully you can see by this graphic, if you want to call it a graphic, you understand what I mean by constantly moving, because averages and number of battles. So, moving to this equation, like you can see in the title, the MOs are calculated using one's recent 100 battles. And in those recent 100 battles, if you keep an eye on your raw damage per battle and then divide that by 100, you're going to get your average raw damage. The algorithm is going to take that average raw, and then it is going to take your best assisted per each of those 100 battles. Now, what do you mean by the best assisted? The algorithm does not take a combined assisted damage. So if you have 1,000 spotting damage and 500 track assist, you're not going to get 1,500 assisted damage applied to your mark. It's only going to be your average raw plus that 1,000 spot assist. So if you take that and keep that in mind there, you're going to take your average raw plus the best assisted per the game, and that is going to be your combined total for that battle. And then, of course, you're going to move down to the yours versus community. You're going to take that combined total, and then you're going to divide that by the recent performance of the community in the past 2 weeks, and the average recent performance in the past 2 weeks. And by dividing your combined total and that from that recent performance, you're going to get your mark of excellence percentage. And so, as a basic example here, if you want to follow along, let's say that you're averaging around 1,500 damage in a tank for your trying to go to your third mark, and the third mark by the community stats is 1,800 damage. By dividing 1,500 from, take 1,500 divided by 1,800, you're going to have a mark percentage of 83% plus 333 going on. So that's basically how it's calculated. Like I said, I wish I could go more in depth on how the math works, but it's a closely guarded secret, and Wargaming is not going to give that information to anybody outside the company. But that does it for the math. Where can you find it in the game? Well, there's 2 locations that you can find it in the game. I do have some screenshots here. The first one is going to be in the post-battle results there. If you go in there and you select your profile, if you haven't earned a mark already, then it won't appear in the medals. But if you're looking for your percentage just starting out before you reach 65%, if you go to your hover over your name in the roster after the battle, select the performance review, you will see in the bottom right hand corner that it will have your marks of excellence progress tracking after that battle. The other place that you can look is in the garage. If you go to the profile tab and then select the stats button, you will see a list of tanks, and of course by hovering over any of those tanks there, again, tiers 5 and up or airs 1 through 3, in the lower left-hand corner of that tank's particular stat, you should see your mark of excellence progress in that vehicle. Other than that, that's all I have for the marks of excellence information. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you found this information helpful. If you enjoyed this video and did find it helpful, hit that thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe. But until next time, this has been Darren of WoTC Academy.